The loss of billions of dollars has upset everyone, and the Federal Reserve has surprised everyone by announcing that data has come for you nice people back home. XRP troops, pay attention now. Since I'm sure you've all noticed the wild price swings in XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum over the past several days, I'll continue on to discussing the volatility. I'll break it all down for you and show you why this instability is just going to get worse from here. Ethereum and Bitcoin options valued more than 22 billion matured today. Because of this, a great deal more capital will be flowing via these marketplaces. The answer is yes, volatility is here to stay. I bet a lot of you are curious as to whether this portends additional highs or lows. That is something I will address shortly. That will be covered soon. Some very interesting developments are taking place in the realm of borrowing. Actually, tech companies are taking out loans at a rapid pace. More than $157 billion in U.S. public bonds have been raised thus far this year by digital corporations. Since 2020, this is the highest amount they have ever collected in a single year. It was a remarkably comparable pattern in the years leading up to the 2021 bull run when Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP all hit their all-time highs. I doubt it is necessary for me to inform you of this. As you can see, borrowing money for technology skyrocketed in 2020. While it did decline slightly and clearly its all-time high, upon more reflection, this becomes rather clear. Currently, tech companies are taking out loans and investing the money they've borrowed. A massive artificial intelligence system is being assembled. They're investing in everything you can think of, blockchain system. Afterwards, the profits will trickle in, attracting even more investors who will naturally drive up the record highs. The Federal Reserve will likely begin raising interest rates again in 2026 or 2027. The markets will experience a loss of liquidity once more, leading to the bubble's eventual fall. If the Federal Reserve begins to tighten monetary policy by increasing interest rates, a quantitative tightening, I would not be surprised if we reach new heights in 2026. Even the Federal Reserve is uncertain right now as to when interest rates will be raised or lowered. That's because they continue to eagerly await fresh information on a daily basis. On the other hand, you can tell the Fed's next move by observing their statements and the data as it is. There is a lot of capital available right now, and tech businesses can see that. This bodes favorably for the company's financial health up until August of next year. Inflation and PCE. It was predicted that the Fed's preferred inflation metric would rise to 2.7% due, and the rate of core PCE inflation were both 2.9%. Would you have guessed? Despite PCE inflation reaching its highest level since February 2025, the Fed will continue to decrease rates. So in essence, you can expect your product or service pricing to continue climbing at an unsustainable rate. When the dollar's value keeps falling, more and more people will start investing their money in passing. I might mention that this is among the worst years for the US dollar. It will continue to see rate cuts from the Federal Reserve, so things should improve from here. What this means is that additional capital will enter the market, but the long-term picture for the US dollar will be somewhat bleak. That is why individuals ought to liquidate their US dollars. Stock purchases are necessary. They ought to invest in crypto if they care about the security of their money. So long as the Fed maintains its policy of gradually reducing interest rates, this trend will persist. They had already stated their intention to lower prices twice more before year's end, indicating that they stand to gain more from the sale of these treasuries. I also made a ton of money and altered my life after learning something about investing, which is an intriguing thing in and of itself. At this time when everyone else is downcast, I pray that it lifts your spirits as well. Bearish sentiment is appropriate when the majority is bullish. Exactly how is the individual feeling right now? People spend their money on what? This is fascinating, I must say. Talented individual buyers from retail and hedge funds sold 3 last week. 8.8 billion U.S. equities. Institutional buyers sold 1.4 billion shares, marking the first time they had done so in 3 months. Spending has decreased over the last 4 weeks with an average of $1.6 billion. Additionally, hedge funds reduced their stock sales to $2 billion from $2.9 billion the previous week. The result was a drop in their 4-week average to $1 billion. Concurrently, individual purchasers sold 300 million, marking the third consecutive week of losses following 800 million the previous week. Everyone on Wall Street is cashing in on the gains, but institutional buyers are buying and nobody knows about it. On the right side of the chart, you can observe the institutional gains and losses. Since the Fed recently lowered interest rates, most individuals are selling at the moment, and they're selling at an incredibly early stage. Most individuals, however, think that the market's hit an all-time high just before the Fed lowers interest rates. I intend to sell the moment the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates. That's not the way it functions. This has been a frequent topic on my but I should mention that the funds that are generated by the Federal Reserve's rate cuts and money printing often take at least 3 months to make their way into the markets. 20 out of the last 20 instances actually required more time. Everything tourniquet in the previous 20 rate cuts, the Fed has been effective 20 times out of 20. Not only is the SP at an all-time high right now, but the stock market and cryptocurrency markets were also higher at the end of the year compared to the beginning. This indicates that the typical amount of purchasers in the previous just 1 week has passed, and everyone else seems to be selling nonstop. It presents a fascinating story. In my opinion, many individuals have a pessimistic outlook on the market at the moment due to a lack of understanding of the fundamentals. They are in the dark about the future and the means by which the funds will be recovered. Very few people can claim to have extensive market knowledge. Buying stuff is basically their job. Nonetheless, things are about to get interesting. Many people, including hedge funds, will be taken by surprise, in my opinion. Upon first glance, it appears as the only ones who will actually succeed here are institutions. There will be a handful of individual purchasers who also fare well. We are aware that there will be instability since, as previously said, all of these alternatives are set to expire. Regarding the near term, I would like to be crystal clear. A new low might be in store for the price of XP. The reality is that we are currently trading around the 256 level of support. Issues will improve while I film this video, okay? So that's a potential level for us to reach. I am currently preparing for that. However, I will demonstrate that my Crusader signal has consistently located these bottoms. At 272, I discovered the bottom, and we immediately began to climb again. More specifically, you might have continued holding on when we hit 281 and still be doing rather well today. We may make one more pass at the following support line. E, providing us with an excellent opportunity to purchase before continuing on. I will tell you, though, that the Crusader signal is a great tool for locating your underwear. Each of these buy-in signals is sent to you at the same time, simultaneously with these sales signals and whenever they occur. You can see that we hit 269 in this shot. Perhaps you could have entered the market at the exact moment the buy signal was issued, and then you could have received a sell signal at approximately 290. At this very moment, the sell signal was sent out, and it's like clockwork. Since last year, we have supported this on Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. It's quite effective and has worked in every one of these. People have made 4 times as much money in the last 5 months. You should try this out of how it goes because we also made an exercise for it. Yes, it is effective for you. You can join the Crusader Radio Connection in one of 3 ways. You can choose from our monthly, quarterly, or annual options. Staying with us for a longer period of time naturally results in better deals. Plus, I can't wait for all that's coming up here. Hopefully you are as well. There are a lot of major events on the horizon. You should only be patient and go in the correct way when the time is right. If you all tune into this show, I have no doubt that you will succeed. Here's a Crusader sign-up link for you to follow. Joining the Crypto Crusader Club is something I'm really looking forward to. Please register if you have not already done so. Much adoration. Leave it